Weekly recap. Now, I apologize. I haven't been able to do the daily recaps much this week. It's been a little bit of a hectic week. A lot of after school activities. A lot of after work activities this week with the holidays. Did a couple of networking events. We just joined the Farmingdale, which is the town our business is located in, the Chamber of Commerce, which I don't understand what took so long to do that. I think we just did it because we haven't really done a lot of networking until this year, and just now that we're doing so much networking, it just makes sense to join the Chamber of Commerce in the town that we're actually in. And we've been in Farmingdale even before we started cleaning rugs. We were in this town I think about 9 years now or so, when we just had the office cleaning side of our business. So that was a long time coming. It was really nice too. It was very down to earth, regular kind of folks. It was really nice to actually meet some of them, and I look forward to some more of those events. And what's funny is last Friday we had a different event through a restoration company that we deal with, and we had met some people this week at the Farmingdale Chamber of Commerce that were also at that event, and one woman in particular who I struck up an entire conversation with at the event last Friday. We both kind of remembered each other, and we had a nice discussion again. That was pretty nice. Outside of that, so to fill you in, we had that city job, that Manhattan job that we did over the weekend, and that really went well. So sometimes when you have larger jobs and different tasks that you're trying to accomplish in that job, you might have 6 or 7 different things that you're supposed to try that they have a concern about. And, sometimes 3 or 4 of them go really well. 1 or 2, it looks better, but it didn't come out completely. Every single thing that we got called in to do in this building, everything went great, which is always, that's not always the case. And I was really glad that, as for our first impression though, fantastic. Now, that building is run by a separate group that we just joined as well. It's a property management company, but within that property management company, the actual property managers have their own guild, like their own organization. And it just so happens, as we were doing some of the work, especially on this one carpeted area that they were really worried about, the president of that association was there and got to actually firsthand see how well that went. And I thought it went well, and I had reached out to the guy, the main property manager for that building, and he already has a second job for us to come back in that building. So fantastic. And then this week, I've been talking to another, you probably, if you're a fan of rug cleaning per se, you might not know this guy, but he's pretty much an Instagram only guy, but he's got a good following. He does a ton of work in Manhattan with very high end clientele. A lot of times he can't show what he's doing because they don't want him to film stuff in their homes, and he does work for some famous people, but sometimes those people, they repost his stuff. Now, he's not a rug cleaner per se. He doesn't have a rug shop. He never really takes rugs. He does everything on site. But we've been kind of kicking it back and forth a while through Messenger. He's definitely noticed our stuff. I've noticed his stuff. We're always kind of through Messenger talking to each other. And we almost had another opportunity to do some work together a couple weeks ago. And now he's actually going to be bringing some rugs to us from one of his best clients really. And I'm looking forward to kind of taking that on. And then we were getting to talking a little bit today, and he was kind of on board with, potentially us doing a lot of work together as long as we can help him get the rugs out of Manhattan and back to our shop, which is something that we're going to be looking to do in 2026 anyway. So, so pretty happy with that. And then I had also mentioned last week that this was actually a pretty good week. I had mentioned last week too that design company that's a very, very large design company they sell products, predominantly carpet. We had an opportunity to work with them, and I finally got the results from that. I thought it came out really well, and they agreed. They were very happy, and they want to keep doing business with us. So I'm been kind of just coasting this week on a lot of that kind of stuff. Not a ton of new commercial stuff coming in. We're getting really close now to the end of the year here, and with Christmas, typically our business, the weeks leading up to Christmas are busy, and then as we get a little bit closer, and then that week of Christmas to New Year's is just dead. So I'm starting to see the same cycle we have every year here. It's been a little bit less rugs in the shop. We did go, we went back to, for a while we weren't making live videos, and more on point with this channel, we took a break from our live videos, and then we finally went live again, and we got, I think we got almost 80,000 views on that live stream. So sometimes I think if you're in business and it's not working, and you're doing, especially on the social media side, and you're trying to, sometimes maybe the best step is to not stop making content, but to just take a little pause and, hey, this isn't working right now. Let's give the algorithm a little bit of a break, and we'll try something else, and we'll get back to it when, after a couple weeks, let it reset a little bit. And it seems like that kind of worked. Now, from that day, we went live again, and that live kind of really didn't do great. So I guess it's a little bit hit or miss. I have some ideas about that. We're going to try. I think a big thing that we were doing with our live streams is that we were always using the same title and then just kind of changing the date, kind of like what I do with these videos here with the daily recaps and stuff. But we made a change in the title, and then out of nowhere, it kind of kicked back up, and then we did the same thing. We used the same title again, and that one didn't do too well. So maybe we have to kind of mix up the titles a little bit, and maybe that'll help push the live streams. But we'll see. So other than that, pretty good week. I'm noticing something now that's kind of our first time networking. Also, I had that network of realtors. They had another little luncheon. It was a much more, because they had a huge get together, their holiday party, which was absolutely insane. I don't remember if I had mentioned it in the daily recaps, but I don't know any of these people. We had just kind of gotten hooked up with them, and I walked into their holiday party, and it was 450 people. So that was a little bit of a weird event. Definitely felt wasn't going to be doing any real networking there. I had a good time actually, but I really didn't know anybody. I was by myself. So, but they invited me this week, which, the next week after the event, to come to a much smaller, with just the realtors in the office event, and that actually went pretty well. I met a couple people. A lot of people were saying that they don't really have anybody to refer right now, so that they would definitely maybe use me in the future. The guy who runs these two realtor offices, they're pretty large offices that each have about 40 or 50 realtors in each, so it's almost about 100 realtors or so. He was saying that he wants me to, every quarter, every 6 months or so, go into each office and maybe do like a little presentation, like while they're doing like their sales meeting. And when he first said it, when I first met him, I thought he was, maybe that's nice, maybe he'll let me do that. But now, because he's been following up with me and inviting me to these two events, I actually think he's pretty genuine with that. So I don't exactly know what I'll put together for something like that, but we'll see. I'll have to think about that a little bit. I don't think our rug cleaning part of our business makes a lot of sense necessarily for realtors, but I was thinking, and I had a little bit of an idea, that maybe I kind of make some unique documents or like guides to what we can do specifically to help realtors like solve their problems that their clients have when they're trying to sell houses specifically, because you can do a lot. Cleaning will help a lot of making a house look very passable. And I know a lot of other, so this was a unique thing. They don't know, like, these people really weren't referring a lot of different types of cleaning. Now, I don't do any kind of power washing or like weekly type of maid service, or a couple of people had asked me, do you have, if there's like somebody has a hoarder house, or they have to remove a ton of items, do you have anybody, can you get a dumpster? And I actually, because of my LaTip group that I'm in, I've actually worked with some of these people already who have all of these things, and I can refer, I could almost basically come to them now and say, hey, I can solve all the problems of these types of categories. Yet, you need your house power washed because it looks terrible and they want to sell the house, give it an uplift. I have somebody for that. You need the carpets cleaned? I do that. I have somebody. I am that guy, but I have somebody. Tile and grout, we do that. You have a ton of stuff that needs to get removed from the house. Maybe I'll partner with my friend who's in the tip that has a demolition company, has dumpsters. Maybe he'll send one or two of his guys. I'll send my team, and we'll get everything out of the house as quickly as possible. So I'm trying to come up with new ideas and just kind of seeing where these different opportunities take me, and really from there, that's about it. Pretty good week. I'll try to do, at the very least, I will always do a weekly recap like this. Now, tomorrow, we are working on Saturday. I'm doing a big filming day again. Yeah, other than that, the podcast, so we're gonna film the first podcast on the slowest week of the year for us, which is between Christmas and New Year's Day. So that'll be coming up in the next couple weeks. I can't believe it's this quick, but in the next couple weeks. But yeah, you guys have a wonderful evening. It's Friday, or if you're watching this any day, you have a wonderful day. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.